I want to hear more about your anti-porn stuff.
Oh God.
All right. Here we go. I also think that porn is one of the things that is destroying my generation.
Why is it so bad?
Okay, so first of all, with the porn industry, we know that it is fueled by criminal activity. I mean, the sex trafficking industry is like funneled through porn. Pornhub is dealing with, at this rate, 10 plus 15 lawsuits. Children being molested, put on the site. It is a breeding ground for terrible behavior. For women, I think we are fed this lie. That you can, as women, I think that we are fed this lie that you can have this super happy and productive and fulfilling life by just selling your body. It will not be that way. You look at the mental health of sex workers, you look at the mental health of, porn stars, it's not good. There's the 1%, on OnlyFans, who makes, they make millions of dollars and they're great. And that, will sustain them whenever they stop doing this kind of work. But for the majority of them, it is a terrible, terrible, terrible industry.
I'm going to play devil's advocate
Yes.
here. And very much devil's advocate. Okay.
Yeah.
Graham's laughing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think a lot of people, they fall into the porn industry because it's just by happenstance, I may as well do this. I can make a good buck here.
100%.
So I could see why that would probably not work very well mentally for people.
Yeah.
It's like falling into something where, like you said, selling your body. But those that do intentionally move into the industry, and they know that that's something that they enjoy, don't you think in that situation? I guess you did allude to the 1% of people.
Yeah, if it works for you, then that's fine. And I will never say to your face, you are lying to yourself about it. Because I'm sure that there's some people that just genuinely don't care and they have a good experience with it. But I think on a whole, and looking at the entire gender, women are not, and maybe this goes back to hookup culture and that kind of thing. But when you look at men and women, men are biologically designed to go sow the seeds. There's a reason why you do not carry a child for 9 months. For women, it's I need to find this one specific partner. I can only be pregnant for 9 months. I can only carry basically, I can only have one pregnancy at once. I have to protect these eggs. I only have, a set amount of eggs that I'm, created. And so we are very, very protective over that. With men, you are literally designed to go repopulate the earth, literally. And so with women, there's a reason why, biologically, hookup culture and just sleeping with a bunch of people and leaning into that. And I guess, porn is a little bit different, but still this sex positive culture for women, I don't think it's healthy because it's going against how I believe we are literally biologically designed. And I think for young men, it is allowing them to be complacent with just living online and not having real relationships. The violence in marriages has I'll finish that thought and then go into it. But violence in relationships, domestic abuse has skyrocketed with the normalization of porn. Often in domestic abuse situations, the man is addicted to porn or has a history with it. 52% of divorces in this country cite porn as an issue, which is just an insane stat. But it makes sense because if you're unhappy and you're trying to find fulfillment or pleasure somewhere else, you're going to go that way. But I was reading this Reddit post from this person. They were arguing the benefits and the drawbacks between OnlyFans and Pornhub, and they were arguing that OnlyFans was better. And one of the arguments for OnlyFans being better was because they were subscribing to an individual girl and they could create this parasocial relationship with her. And it's it feels better because I'm not really objectifying her, and we have a relationship, we can chat and I can feel better. It's then go out into the real world and ask a girl on a date. Porn is allowing young men to stay in front of their computers and not strive for anything else. Overuse of porn, over the masturbation, it fucks with your hormones. Biologically, it has impacts. Mentally, men who are porn addicted, who even just are not even porn addicted but watch copious amounts of porn, are mentally very, very unhealthy. It is not natural. And it's just and then on top of it, with the industry being so dangerous, it's why is this something that we have just become, so accustomed to? And it's happened really fast. My mom and I were talking about it. My producer, Matt Scheller, who never, but my former producer who doesn't work here anymore, he was in his 40s. We were talking about with he and my mom, where if you wanted to watch adult content 40 years ago, 30 years ago, you had to go to a theater and you had to watch, with a lot of people. There was a reason why. I'm forgetting who the actor was that was like arrested for masturbating in a theater, like in an adult film. Or then later on with like Blockbuster and that sort of thing, you had to go into like the adult section and you know, were in public renting it out and that sort of thing. But it has become more and more private, where now it is literally on your phones. You can do a quick Google search. It is so at people's fingertips that there is now not really a stigma around it. Women are almost like encouraged to go into it in a lot of ways. You look at, you know, things online, you see girls that, you know, were making millions, you know, basically objectifying themselves and, you know, selling their bodies is almost appealing. With men, it's become so commonplace. You know, boys start seeing porn when they're like 13 years old. I saw porn for the first time when I was, I think, probably 14 or 15. It's become so normalized so quickly. And that is like the most shocking thing to me. And I also think in a similar way as we were talking about like the culture around smoking weed, I do think that there's like a culture around young men who just sit in their homes and they just watch porn.
I do agree. I think the accessibility to porn is the real issue. Porn itself, I don't know if that's like a huge issue if guys know exactly what they're doing and they're very intentional about it. And the girls that go into the business are very intentional about going to the business. They feel pride with what they do. I feel like there's probably no problem with that.
Well, I would say there is a problem with sex trafficking for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think now Pornhub, don't they verify IDs?
You can still get around. That's still like, I mean, Netflix is about to drop a whole documentary, I think, next month, literally just about the sex trafficking part of
trafficking
Pornhub.
Objectively.
Yeah.
Of course. That's a bad part. I'm just talking on the theory of porn itself.
Yeah. But something that's crazy to me is that laws are just now being put in place where you have to verify your age to get on Pornhub. Like before, it was like you could just put in any birthday and get on and watch it. States are just now rolling out, you need to verify. Like if I was verifying my student discount on Spotify, putting in a student ID, whatever.
Imagine a data breach. Like if we can't trust Equifax. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's lists you don't want exposed. Imagine going through the list and just like, you know, Control F and like.
How are they going to check IDs and everything? Like you submit a photo of your.
You scan it.
Wow.
And then there's the debate that a lot of people will agree that Pornhub and sites like Pornhub is objectively bad because they do not protect their creators. It's dangerous. It's just slipped up one too many times. So people say like OnlyFans is better. OnlyFans was not created as a like adult content site. It was created as like Patreon without any kind of like content regulations. They are not a sex site, and they're very, very clear about that. So they do not have any protections in place for their creators.
Well, I thought that would the way around that was for their banking by saying like, hey, we don't just focus on this, we allow anything, and that's one of the ways around how they can get like lines of credit and a bank account and stuff like that.
Exactly. But also they were started initially, it was during COVID that it blew up as like a sex site because sex workers, like escorts, didn't have jobs during COVID, so they created OnlyFans. And people think that it is safer because of that, or that it's like feminist porn because women are producing it themselves, but it is often more dangerous because there are no regulations on the site because it is not an adult site. So OnlyFans has no way to report if like there's some guy that's trying to pimp you out. They do not have many verification things. There's all of these studies, mainly in the UK, of looking at kids who have gotten onto OnlyFans as creators or as consumers, because their age verification, you can submit an ID that is not yours and still get an account. So if you could like there was this like story of a girl who used her aunt's ID, made an OnlyFans, and at 17 or 16 years old was doing OnlyFans content and then got exploited. Like some crazy guy like found her and like a bunch of stuff. So they just do not have those protections. So like if the industry itself is not even safe, like I understand like you have a right to do whatever work you want to.
Devil's advocate.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I don't think that, one, I don't think it's healthy for society as a whole. I don't think that that's doing anything good for any of us. But it's like I get it if, you know, you want to, that's your prerogative.
Let's say what about prostitution? Because don't they say that's the okay? All right.
Let's go back to porn. Let's go back to porn. Okay.
Very passionate.
So is it the culture of porn itself, or is it porn in general?
I think it's both.
So I agree. I think the culture around porn, yes, is extremely toxic and it's very bad. Probably an objective bad, right?
Yeah.
Let's take porn itself. Okay. So
like the actual
with two
videos.
very intentional, two very intentional people consenting into this whatever transactional relationship.
Yeah.
How is that bad?
If they are doing that, then I guess that's fine. Like if you want to make videos in your own home, I guess maybe it's the selling of it. I don't know.
But what is it exactly about the selling of it? Because people sell their bodies in other ways.
That's very true. I guess I think in my mind that goes back to the industry. Like, will there ever be a safe way to present that pornography?
But if there was,
creators,
then it would probably be okay in the mind of Brett Cooper.
I think on a moral level, I would still say no. Because
I think for you, I think you value intimacy and having something that's like you feel is protected and is yours and is sacred.
I do too.
And I think that's something
I 100% I value intimacy. I value all of that stuff too. But at the same time, I'm very much the type where I don't want to be telling people that know what they're going into, what they should and shouldn't be doing. And that's where I think about porn.
in a perfect world where it was totally safe, maybe. I can't give a solid answer because I still do not believe that it is a good for society. I think people are on a whole negatively
It is a bad for society. I would probably agree with that, yeah.
And also,
just because the culture is it trumps all.
And I think it's for the viewers, but also I would look at the people who, even if they are, consenting individuals, I would still look at that and be like, as Brett Cooper, I don't think you're making the right decision.
Yeah.
Like if I had control over your life, I would say do not do that. It is not going to be healthy for you in the long run. Like you are literally blowing up your reputation.
What's unhealthy about it? Do you
because
feel
you're
from
selling...
the actresses or actors' perspective?
Yeah. I guess I keep going back to number one, the industry is like very dangerous, but also on an emotional level, if you are just selling the most,
it takes tolls just after time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like mentally, emotionally, you are selling like the most biologically intimate thing that you can do, and you're putting like a price tag on. Like after that, what else do you have to give? It's like you are literally breaking through every barrier. Like you have no privacy. Like this is the most intimate thing that you can do. I will never say that is objectively healthy.
It goes against biology.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this is the most objectively private, intimate thing that we are now like commercializing and selling. I will never say that could ever be healthy.
So you would say biological truths are axiomatically correct morally.
Yes.
What did you just say? I'm so lost on that.
Okay, that's something I would actually kind of agree with to a certain extent. Okay, so just so everyone knows, okay, because I feel like people are going to start thinking like, oh, Jack, he's like this crazy porn guy, whatever. Okay, because we've had 2 porn stars on the show before.
Okay.
And people said that it looked like I fell in love with the porn stars when I came on the show, which is not the case. Yeah. Okay, but that's like what the viewers got basically out of that. I have a very intense stare.
Yeah. Really listening intently to
I do, but like I agree. Porn culture is extremely dangerous. And I think porn itself, if you're just taking 2 consenting people, I think that's probably fine. I'm not this crazy porn person, in case if you guys watching are wondering, okay? I don't even watch porn. I will say openly, I used to watch porn. And you know this, Graham. I don't watch porn anymore. No, and I've found my
and that's
life
incredibly admirable.
Thank you.
It's very, very hard to do. It's also very, very rare to find men that will openly say that.
That you used to watch porn or that you quit porn?
Yeah, both.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that you like used to and that you quit, or that you like actively don't. That's very rare. And I'm somebody that like brings it up. I'm like, so let's talk about that. And it's like,
See, I feel neutral. Like I just don't care either way. I think if two people are consenting and they're not hurting anybody, I'm all for it.
Right.
I think there's a place for it. I think there's a marketplace.
I think there's a market for it, but
and
you
if we
also
go
have
back
to think on the side of the consumer. Some people are able to perfectly.
If you get rid of like the audience
then,
for it,
but then it's going to go underground. Then there's going to be something else that pops up.
No, I wasn't meaning like making it illegal or whatever. But if like the culture changes and we start to kind of like in a similar way to how like sobriety is very, very cool now. Like there's all of these like mocktail bars that are opening up and that sort of thing. It's like if the culture starts changing around it, the market starts changing.
I still think that's such a small subset.
Yeah,
like the mocktail industry, I think that's so cool. Macy she ordered a mocktail for I had no idea those things existed, and I tried it. It was actually really cool. Like I like it, but I see these changes, but I think it's such a small part of the market. Like what?
But
10%,
I still have
hope
for that because I still see it as like a productive change. And I still see those people as people that are going out and having conversations in their community and maybe changing minds or opening people up to a new thing. And I think that that's exciting. But I do put a lot of fault on the consumers, because if there was not such a porn culture and consumption of porn, there would not be a market for it. People would not go into it thinking that it was some kind of
what about prostitution? Because isn't that the oldest profession? Don't they call that?
I think so. Yeah, I would say. I don't
so isn't
support prostitution.
But I know, but isn't that similar on a similar way?
Yeah, but just because it's existed for a long time doesn't necessarily make it.
But I feel like that should also be legal. I mean, if 2 consenting adults are want to enter into a business arrangement,
I probably agree prostitution should be legal. Yeah, and you probably disagree with this, but I just think people, give them the right to do whatever they want. That, for the most part, yeah.
I think
in a
that
safe place, of course.
Again, I always go back to the industry around it of like, and maybe the argument that it's like that it's legal and there's more protections and all of that stuff. Maybe it could be a different thing, but just because something has been around for a long time or has been done, in my mind, does not make it right or morally right. So I look at that and I still think that I don't think that people should be doing. I don't think that that's the healthy thing to do. Would I legislate that? I don't know. That's why I would never be a politician, because I like to be able to have nuanced conversations. I think I would be in a terrible position. But I do believe that it is unhealthy for people. I believe that, selling your body is unhealthy. I believe that paying for sex is unhealthy. And so I will never advocate for something.
I would say it's unhealthy.